Hello everyone and welcome to our special sleep lecture series. Tonight we have a very mysterious guest with us, someone who has studied the art and science of sleep for decades, observing its effects on millions, if not billions, of individuals across the globe. They've seen it all, the good, the bad, and the restless. Who is this enigma? Well, let's just say they're an expert who's closer to you than you think. In fact, this expert is you. That's right. You are the world's foremost expert on your own sleep. You've been conducting a lifelong study, gathering data every single night. You know what it feels like to wake up refreshed. And you definitely know the groggy, frustrating feeling of a night spent tossing and turning. You hold the key to understanding your own patterns. My role here isn't to give you a one-size-fits-all solution, but to help you become a better researcher of yourself. Together, we're going to decode the signals your body is sending you and turn that data into a strategy for consistently better rest. So let's get started, shall we? First, let's talk about the biggest myth in the world of sleep, the magic number of 8 hours. We've all heard it. You need to get 8 hours of sleep every night. While it's a good general guideline, it's not a universal law. Some people thrive on 7 hours, while others might need 9 to feel their best. Trying to force yourself into a rigid 8-hour box when your body is telling you otherwise can create more stress and anxiety around bedtime, which is the last thing you need. So how do you find your personal magic number? The best way is to experiment, preferably when you have some time off, like a vacation. For a few days, try going to bed when you feel tired and waking up naturally, without an alarm clock. Track how many hours you sleep and how you feel the next day. Are you energized and focused, or are you still dragging your feet? After a few days of this, you'll start to see a pattern emerge. That pattern is your body's natural sleep requirement. Knowing this number is the first major step in building a sleep schedule that truly works for you, not against you. Now let's move on to the environment. Your bedroom should be a sanctuary for sleep and only sleep. This means we need to get rid of the things that tell your brain it's time for work or entertainment. The biggest culprit, your phone. That little screen emits blue light, which actively suppresses the production of melatonin, the hormone that tells your body it's time to wind down. Scrolling through social media or checking emails in bed keeps your mind buzzing and your body awake. Make a simple rule. No screens in the bedroom. If you use your phone as an alarm, place it across the room. This not only reduces your exposure to blue light, but also forces you to physically get out of bed, to turn it off in the morning, making it harder to hit that snooze button. Instead of scrolling, try reading a physical book under a dim, warm light. This simple change can dramatically improve the quality of your sleep by signaling to your brain that the day is over and it's time to rest. Your bedroom should be cool, dark, and quiet. Think of it as creating the perfect cave for hibernation. Let's discuss what you do before you even get into bed. Your pre-sleep routine is like a runway for a plane. It needs to be long and clear for a smooth takeoff into dreamland. You can't just go from 100 miles an hour to a dead stop. Your body and mind need time to decelerate. This is where a wind-down routine comes in. This routine should start about an hour before your intended bedtime. What does a good wind-down routine look like? It's personal. But the goal is to switch your brain from doing mode to being mode. This could involve some light stretching, listening to calming music, or practicing mindfulness meditation. A warm bath can also be incredibly effective. The subsequent drop in your body temperature after getting out mimics a natural signal for sleep. Another powerful tool is journaling. Spend 10 minutes writing down anything that's on your mind. Worries, to-do lists, random thoughts. Getting it out of your head and onto paper can prevent those thoughts from racing around when your head hits the pillow. Experiment with a few different activities and see what makes you feel the most relaxed and at ease. Now, a word about food and drink. What you consume in the hours leading up to bedtime has a huge impact on your sleep. The two main things to watch out for are caffeine and alcohol. Caffeine is a stimulant, and its effects can last for many hours. That afternoon cup of coffee might be the reason you're staring at the ceiling at midnight. As a general rule, try to avoid caffeine for at least 6 to 8 hours before bed. Alcohol, on the other hand, is a bit trickier. Many people think a glass of wine helps them fall asleep, and it can. It's a sedative after all. However, as your body metabolizes the alcohol, it disrupts your sleep architecture later in the night. It particularly affects REM sleep, which is crucial for memory consolidation and emotional regulation. This is why you might fall asleep easily after a drink, but then wake up in the middle of the night feeling restless and unrefreshed. If you want to improve your sleep, try cutting back on evening alcohol and see how you feel. Instead, opt for a calming, caffeine-free herbal tea like chamomile or peppermint. What happens if you do all this and you still find yourself lying in bed, wide awake? The worst thing you can do is stay there and stress about it. This creates a negative association between your bed and the feeling of frustration. It trains your brain to think, oh, we're in bed, time to be anxious about not sleeping. If you've been lying awake for more than 20 minutes, get up. Go to another room and do something quiet and relaxing under dim light. Read a boring book, listen to some soft music, or do some gentle stretches. The key is to do something that isn't stimulating. Avoid your phone, TV, and work. Only go back to bed when you start to feel genuinely sleepy again. This technique, known as stimulus control, helps re-establish the connection between your bed and sleep. It might feel counterintuitive at first, but breaking that cycle of sleepless frustration is essential for long-term improvement. Remember, your bed is for sleeping, not for worrying. Let's talk about consistency. Your body loves routine. It has an internal clock, the circadian rhythm, that regulates your sleep-wake cycle. When you go to bed and wake up at wildly different times every day, you're essentially giving your body jet lag without ever leaving home. This is especially true on weekends. It's tempting to sleep in late on Saturday and Sunday to catch up on sleep, but this can throw your internal clock completely out of whack, making it much harder to wake up on Monday morning. Try to stick to a consistent wake-up time, even on weekends. Yes, even on weekends. If you keep your wake-up time within an hour of your weekday schedule, you'll help keep your circadian rhythm stable. This will make it easier to fall asleep at a reasonable time on Sunday night and feel much more refreshed throughout the week. If you're feeling tired, a short 20-minute nap in the early afternoon is a much better option than sleeping in for hours. Consistency is the secret weapon for a stable and reliable sleep-wake cycle. Now let's tie it all together. Becoming an expert on your own sleep is a journey of self-discovery. It's about listening to your body, gathering your own data, and making small, sustainable changes. We've covered a lot today. Finding your ideal sleep duration, optimizing your bedroom environment, creating a wind-down routine, being mindful of what you eat and drink, and the importance of consistency. Don't try to change everything at once. Pick one or two things to start with. Maybe this week you focus on putting your phone away an hour before bed. Next week you could try establishing a consistent wake-up time. Track your progress. How do you feel? Are you falling asleep faster? Are you waking up with more energy? You are the lead researcher in this experiment. Your feelings and energy levels are your data points. Celebrate the small wins and don't get discouraged by setbacks. Some nights will be better than others, and that's perfectly normal. The goal is not perfection, it's progress. By becoming more in tune with your body's needs and rhythms, you're not just improving your sleep, you're investing in your overall health, happiness, and productivity. You have the power to transform your nights, and in turn, your days. Remember, the world's leading expert on your sleep is you. Now it's time to step into that role and start making the changes that will lead you to a more restful, re-energizing life. Thank you so much for joining this special lecture. I hope you found these insights helpful on your journey to better sleep. If you enjoyed this, please give this video a like and subscribe to the channel for more content designed to help you live your best, most well-rested life. Sweet dreams.